On this day of days when we are all Irish, from Mayo to Munich to Moscow, from Bonn to Bermuda to Boston, it's Boston that has really set the tradition for celebrating St. Patrick's Day outside of Ireland. And while I'm assuming you are all Irish, if you're not, you're going to pretend to be today. So what we're going to do in our program after we recognize some friends and some distinguished guests is we're going to give a series of toasts to the Commonwealth in which we live, to Ireland from which many of us come, and to this day that we have all decided to gather together. In recognizing some of our distinguished guests, I can guarantee you I will either forget somebody or mispronounce their name. You can see me out back afterwards and either beat me up or just yell. And I can guarantee you I will also mangle the protocol in the order. So, joining us this evening, we have Consul General Michael Lonergan and his lovely wife, Kirsty, who have put up with me overstaying my welcome on occasion or two. They are joined by the Minister of Labor Affairs, Derek O'Leary, who is from Mayo, who you will get to hear a few words from, and his aide, John Maher, who is not from Mayo, and he's from Cork.
Okay.
Glad you like that. We're also joined tonight by Senator Steve Tolman, who most of you know, and if you don't know him, I recommend you move to the fine town of Watertown where I live, and you will get to know Steve. He was going to be joined by Senate President Theresa May, but it's my understanding that apparently President Obama is much more interesting than we are.
Yay!
In addition to those distinguished guests, we also have some of our Celtic friends, if you will. And over the last year or so, we've really tried to reinforce our bonds with them. So we have Charles Platt and Renia Platt from the British Charitable Society. We have the hiding in a corner, and I'm sure you didn't notice them at all, John and Gail Kilgore from the Scots Charitable Society. If you haven't met them, John is the one in the kilt. I am remiss in mentioning that we also have Vice Consul General Deirdre Nahaloon and her husband Paul Brandon. And I think I came somewhat close. I'm not certain on the pronunciation. Not least important, I also want to recognize the board and the members of the Charitable Irish Society. In today's day and age, many generations are not joiners, and that's something that it's sort of a hard nut to crack. And so for those that have decided to join, for those that have stayed, for those that still commit to the society, I want to thank you. And I would like to recognize the board members, and here's hoping I will actually recognize the board members. So if you could stand up, I will do my best to get all of you, and whoever I forget, please let me know. I know we have John Radigan, who's been on the board for a long time. Clearly nobody is standing up. Because you have to stand up, so not going to remember who's here. Tom Harkins. Paula Carroll. Ed Kirby. Jim Hayes. Charlie Dunbar. Sandra Moody, the ever-important keeper of the Silver Key, i.e. if you want a donation from the Charitable Irish through the Silver Key, Sandra is the woman to talk to. And her husband, Judge Pat King, who probably knows more about the history of Boston than most everybody else has forgotten. Peter Roach, who is also on the board of directors, as is Reverend Phil Jacobs, who will end the evening for us with a little fare thee well and good thoughts for us with the big guy. I know Professor Richard Finnegan is somewhere, and I can't see him. He's our newest board member, or victim, as I like to call him. Dr. Bob O'Neill from the Burns Library, who is always very generous with the Boston College staff time and security in letting us be there. Past President Michael Nagel.
Yay, Mike!
Great distance from Rockport, and we haven't seen him in a very long time because it's a very long drive from Rockport. Paul McNamara, who is also one of our newer board members. And without going into business of the society, Paul and Judge King are spearheading a drive to digitize some of our archives with the Mass Historical Society. I suspect you will be hearing from them. We also have Governor Keneally, who is also a newer board member, and our Secretary, Margaret Flagg, who never fails to miss what needs to go in the minutes and always skips what shouldn't be in the minutes. And then the board member that I think has held my hand the most and saved various parts of me from fire is Professor Catherine Shannon. So, Catherine, I think that I would have gone off of the Nassau Bridge if not for you.